Yeah, yeah. David again, no Jura. Ah, boy. Nah, but don't worry. Jesus Christ say he love you, say he love you plenty. Don't know why we worry when we pocket empty. Jesus Christ provider, he provided we needs. Yeah, why we are worried when friends and family don't love we. Jesus Christ comfort is closer than family. We are okay once he right beside me. Yeah, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Once God is for you, no one can be against. Stand up tall and walk through life by faith. Yeah, yeah, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Just be happy, just be happy. See them problems that you sit and worry about. Making plans, thinking what you're gonna do. You never stop to ask for your father's help. Putting real drama in your life right through. What you been through, you're not alone. Say you have a king. With him by your side, you will never transcend. Don't even try to pretend, yes. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Once God is for you, no one can be against. Stand up tall and walk through life by faith. Yeah, yeah, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Just be happy, just be happy. Me a shop, everything me need, say me father already got. Cup full right up, yeah, cup full right up. It don't have nothing for me, I feel worry about, yeah. Me a shop, everything me need, say me father already got. Cup full right up, yeah, cup full right up. It don't have nothing for me, I feel worry about, yeah. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
Vision again. RSR, let me tell you what I'm saying. The youth say a lot of them refuse it, but it don't matter cause I come to put a message in the music. To put a message in the although the youth say a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them with the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, see, I go put it in the music. Blissful melodies come from heaven, so it's praise I give to the King that given it. And I know many go refuse it, still I go put it in the music. Before they teach the youths about the ABCs, they teach about the Uzis and the M16s. They mess up the psyche of the young babies who grow up with no respect for the young ladies. Oh, sir, the place get corrupt. My voice had to raise and I can't stay quiet. And like a souffle, whole place will erupt. Every positive youth, let we blaze a fire. Although the youth say a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them with the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, Lord, but I go put it in the music. Blissful melodies come from heaven, so it's praise I give to the King that given it. And I know many go refuse it, still I go put it in the music. See, we don't need no forward, them boy coward. Do it for the likes, but the standards lower. Following the hype, them abuse them powers. Who go teach the youths them morals? All of them wanna just fly out overseas, jump up on a plane just to mash up on a stage. They just want fame, everybody know the name. I don't fret if the radio to play my song again. I go play if the youth see a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them when the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, Lord, but I go put it in the music, God. blissful melodies come from heaven. It's praise I give to the King that given me, and I know many go refuse it. Still I go put it in the music. I go put it in the music. Many get it wrong, but it's more than just a song. Pen the words the right way, you can turn the world around. The word is teaching one thing, while the world teaching the wrong thing. So I go stand for something, and it don't matter what nobody say. Although a lot of them refuse it, I go put it in the music. Them with the gun down in the ghetto, them abuse it, Lord. But I go put it in the music, cause blissful melodies come from heaven. So it's praise I give to the King that given me, and I know many go refuse it, hey. But I go put it in the, I go put it in the music, hey. Put it in the, I go put it in the, see, I go put it in the music, hey. Judah, put it in the, say we go put it in the music, hey. Everybody, let me hold our vibes, open your eyes. Please don't compromise. Hey, you better watch what you're writing, cause it's frightening. The kind of music for the youth and them liking. It's evil spirits for the youth them inviting. Lucky they get strike down with lightning. Boy, it's frightening, the world blighted. The youth could really use a little enlightening. Hey, so I says I'm gonna put it in the music. Oh Lord.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
All right, good night, everybody. Good night, good night. Welcome to another episode of Sound Off. We have a very interesting topic today. Excited to have this special guest with us today. Don't forget to share the live. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can send in your questions in the comment section. We'll try to get to them probably a little bit later in the show. So, guys, how was all the week? The week passed.
I miss all you.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I feel like we don't get a chance to talk after the show, but it's like everybody does be just so busy.
True.
For the whole week. Well, me and Bijan had a little something Sunday, but yeah, boy, Bijan, that killed me off, you know. I ain't gonna lie, but
so it does go, boy. So it does go.
All right, let's get into it. Just before we start, let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. And Pastor Bijan can take us to the throne of grace.
Dear Lord and merciful Father, Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening.
Yes.
Lord, even as we are about to speak and share whatever knowledge we may have learned along our way, Lord, may it be something that could help somebody. And may they see the bottom line that this is not just to better self, but to better your kingdom.
Yes,
So
Lord.
be with us tonight and be with the viewers and the presenters and everybody tonight. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Our special guest got bumped off, or?
Yeah, it looks so. He's coming back on. Right.
All right, he's back in. All right,
back
cool.
inside, yeah.
All right, let's get straight into it. I'm excited today to have my special guest. I've known this guy for about, I checked it today, about 21 years.
Whoa.
We went to high school together. Yeah, 21. God, I should not say that. But yeah, about 21 years. We've been a part of a lot of organizations together, did a lot of events together as well. So we have a lot of experience in terms of the topic. Well, for him, he has been involved in the events part of this ministry probably about same time that I've been involved with 10 Strings Music Group. He's the founder of Golden Eagle events management companies, primarily gospel, Christian events, and we know we did an event called Final Generation together, and he moved on to do Praise Break, Beach Games, even through the quarantine, he did the quarantine online concert. So he has the experience to talk about this, to discuss this topic today. So, guys, Mr. Gershom Bing, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Give my little clap, baby. Judah.
You know that sound effect.
Yeah.
That
You
sound
need sound
effect didn't
effect.
load up. It didn't load up yet.
Nah, I ain't load up yet. I cool.
You hearing us?
Just so.
Hmm.
Are you hearing us?
You hearing us now?
All right. Go ahead by the time, David. Let me see what we can sort out here.
All right. Well, the reason for this particular topic is because and Bijan can attest to that it's always a challenge for, especially for upcoming artists who are not really established, to get bookings to shows and to events. You know, sometimes I've heard it a lot. A lot of people complain about different issues that, oh, they see the same artists on the cast for every single show. And the reason I wanted Gershom to come on today to give us a little insight on how the process works and what goes into an event, and why they choose certain artists to be on shows, and that kind of give us a reasoning behind why those things happen. So while we're looking for Gershom to come in, Bijan, if you could give some insights as you as the resident artist on the cast here on the Sound of Podcast, give us a little insight on your experience in terms of being on shows and being booked for events, especially earlier on in the game when it was coming up.
The experience was a very humbling and learning experience. Yeah? It was a steep learning curve. Um, where to start, right? In terms of getting booked for shows, it it seems strange. Let me start from that point of view. It seems strange, especially being in the Christian realm. Starting off young, you're being booked for a show. Yeah. You're putting your face on flyers and all this other star looking thing, you know what I mean? And it was a very strange thing for me, but it was not a very regular thing. Yeah. It's not to say I was being booked every week or and still even now. Yeah. But busy in other capacities, still working for the kingdom. And at that point in the earlier phases, some things that I noticed was you will be booked for once you have a buzz on a song or something like that, then you tend to get more calls. You know what I mean? If you don't have anything relevant out, you really don't get no calls. Yeah, that was is one of the main things I noticed out here now. Like if Mr. Golden Eagle could share some light on that, if he you know put him in the hot box from the jump. From the jump I put him in the hot box. Yeah. But I see like the hot box have no light. Dark way.
Yeah, you know how those things go.
All right. That's so.
Well, Bijan, I could talk in the capacity as 10 strings as artist manager, and somebody who has had some experience in doing events and shows. It's a difficult thing to do and a difficult thing to mesh, especially as we in the Christian gospel fraternity or industry. It's a different thing to marry all of those things together because I think a lot of artists or people don't understand what it takes to put on a show on a whole. So they have a perception that for what I've experienced, I think they have a perception that it doesn't matter. We're just supposed to get artists on the show or book an artist no matter what. But we have to understand that it's also a business. It costs money to put on a show. I can remember the experience in terms of doing Final Generation. That was one of the hardest, but difficult. It was painstaking. It was long. It cost a lot of money and time and effort. And the first one was it was 2 days of event, Saturday and the Sunday, and it cost so much money to put on. And people have to understand as well that it's a show, it's an event, it's also a entertainment, and we want people to come out to the show. That's how it happens. So most of the times when you see most of the popular artists on our cast, it's also a way to attract people to come to the show. Even though we singing gospel music, it's still something that costs so much money to put on. So we have to look at the behind the scenes, both on in terms of the event coordinator or the event company. Also, we know we have to understand the point of view of the artist and also the consumer. So it's something very difficult to marry together because I know that people think it's not supposed to be exactly like how the world has it. But at the end of the day, it still costs a lot of money. It's not something that people do for free. It's not because well, I'm doing a gospel event, the venue are charging you, giving you the venue for free.
Yeah.
The artists want to be paid as well. The musicians want to be paid. The lights person, the sound people want to be paid. So we had to take that into consideration. So what's going on here with Mr. Goleni? This is the man we want to talk to.
David, check your phone.
Yeah.
Check your WhatsApp.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was seeing you giving that hint in the chat in the video just now, you know, Judah, but I ain't so good with the sign
Yeah,
language, boy.
Yeah. Forward that link.
See, I will have big phone there.
We had to get internet. We had to get him man in for sure.
Yeah.
So while we waiting on him, we see inside, I checking on YouTube, seeing Emrand Henry Music.
Hey, Emron, big up
Yeah.
yourself.
Big up yourself, Emrand.
Yeah, man.
With a Doran Charles.
Always on the inside.
And yeah. And TK's Harris Farm, I guess that's your page name. But yeah, man. Big up TK's Harris Farm.
Who you say?
There's on YouTube TK's Harris Family. Family, I think it's family. Yeah. So I think the fella the
Inside?
Nah, I don't. It's something with his mic on his side. Could he come on let him come on Zoom? Let's have a conversation there.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get this fixed. You know how the thing just go.
But there's an interesting conversation we gonna have tonight, though.
Yeah, man. Definitely. it's always good to have that kind of open discussion, and because a lot of people don't really understand or have the information about how this type of thing works.
True, eh?
You know?
Especially young artists. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
So
myself.
like, yeah, a lot of people have a problem with the same artist on every flyer for every show.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah. I think consumers as well, or patrons or supporters need to retrain themselves as well. I think the whole fraternity need to retrain themselves or their mentality, change their mentality on how things work. You know?
Right. All right. So just now, slowly getting him inside. Whoa. All right. Cool.
All right, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, nice. Sorry about that. You know, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
nothing. Well, we
So,
inside now. I don't know if you heard my long intro.
Nah, but yeah, sorry about that, man.
I I can't see over that. I give man a long. I know this man for 20 years. Come up together in this
I'll go
whole.
watch it. I'll go watch it over on the YouTube. All right.
All right, let me just get a brief summary. We know each other for 20 years. We went to high school together. I think we started both our organizations at the same time, Golden Eagle and 10 Strings. You know, I moved in terms of the music part, and he moved towards the events. We did one event together called Final Generation Concert Series. Man had been doing this thing for, I don't know how much years we doing it, probably about 9 years, going on 10.
hmm.
Yeah,
10
about
years
that
will be
time.
in August. Yeah, 10.
Yeah. Praise Break, well, I know Bijan is a mainstay on Praise Break. The online concert, the online quarantine concert, beach games, a whole host of events. Been doing it. Flight, hey, remember that event as well. So, the man have the experience to talk about this topic, so we going straight into it. We don't eat up a lot of time already. So, there's we asking the question. How as an artist you can get booked for shows? As I was saying just before you came back in Grisham, I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
artists and even supporters and fans, let me say, I like to say fans, but I think the whole industry don't understand fully how the process works. Even though we are part of the gospel music fraternity and we're doing gospel music, a lot of people don't understand what it takes, and it is it is same thing like doing any other event or any other venture. It takes a lot of money, takes a lot of time. I don't know that we wish that certain things was different, but it's something that takes a lot out of you. I had an experience with Final Generation, and we did it twice, and it wasn't for me. I ain't gonna lie, that was not. That was too stressful, but that was too stressful. It took a lot of time, money, and I was drained. I just always tell Gusham, I don't know how he does do that every time, and having to deal with a lot of the behind the scenes with the artists and booking. So, first question from me. Everybody else could ask a question.
Okay, cool.
What it is you could tell us what you do as well and everything as well before you answer my question. When you're looking to book an artist, what is the number one thing that you look for as an event coordinator, someone who chose events?
Oh, well, firstly, good night to everyone who tuned in. Thanks, David. Thanks, Bijan. The first time meeting Judah.
Yeah, man.
Heard a lot about you.
Yeah, man.
Highly
Thanks.
spoken about. So much respect. So to answer your question about that, boy, and yeah, just call him Dab. You know, his name is David Adam Parker, so just call him Dab for short. When you're looking for artists, at least me, I look for relevancy, I look for dedication, and I look for professionalism. Relevancy being the top notch because at the end of the day, there's two aspects of being a gospel artist. One is mission, two is business. It's either doing one of the each or both of them. And you need to set that clear with me, which would you would come across either you ask for some sort of contribution for your work. If you say by just on mission, I am mission, cool. Obviously now people don't like to hear this, but business is business. And it could
Mm.
have business in the gospel fraternity because I must pay Bijan for his work because I believe he has to pay his producer and whatnot. There are costs involved. And people don't like to know
Mm.
that. So people will see maybe 300 persons in the concert and think that the promoter naturally has $1 million. And it is not so, you know. So we
Mm.
look for relevancy to see how much your music is out there, your relationship with the target audience, my target audience, obviously, and dedication. Dedication in terms of if I'm throwing a concert and I hire Bijan, I would expect that Bijan would be promoting the show because of the show being successful, that would in turn pay Bijan. Understand what I'm saying? Some
Mm-hmm.
person just think you get booked and you just rock back. And yeah, I perform on a show Friday and you don't help the person who is promoting the show. You don't help in promotion. You don't help in any of these above things, which is needed to make the show a success for both of you all involved. Some person just take it as a job. I get hired, I get paid, I go home. But no, it's a collaborative effort, hence using the word dedication. So these are the three things I look for. Finally, respect. I must have respect in relationship. The reason why I am friends with David for 20 years, yes, correct, it's about 20 years. And we have a lot of disagreements, but at no point in time he disrespected me or I disrespected him. You know, we could fall out on price, we could fall out on mission, we could fall out on direction, but you see, respect, you must always keep respect to keep the relationship going, to keep it healthy. Because conflict is a means of progress. So these are the things that I look for in booking artists. I mean, we could delve into it further, but that's the answer your question on the onset.
Mm.
Hey, anybody else have a question? Like, yeah.
Go through, Bijan.
Judah, you go ahead now.
Now go through, go through. Go through, go through.
Well,
I have
let me
plenty
ask back the
questions.
question. I could ask back the question that I asked earlier, but I
Yeah,
think
go
you
ahead.
answered it already because I was
Mhm.
asking I was asking why is it that sometimes you're dealing with relevancy or what was the question? I was talking about something but I was being a fresh artist coming up.
Hmm.
But you answered the question in terms of what you look for, and that is relevancy, and we need to sell tickets. Yeah? So you want to bring somebody on
Well,
the show who, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, well, at the end of the day, I don't mean to sound too business oriented or money oriented, but it's business we're talking about, and the
Mm,
bottom line is profit or loss. And who tell you otherwise will be
mm,
lying to you. You would not go
mm,
into music and invest tens of thousands of dollars for mission. And if you do so, then I'm yet to meet a person to do so. So if you know a person of that, please introduce them to me. So the bottom line, so it's not
mm,
that boy being only fucking back because he's looking to sell tickets. At the end of the day, this is the business that we're in. It's a subsector of
mm,
spreading the gospel. Some person decide to take it up as a job, as a career, as myself and David and you. And that's how it go. You know, that's how it go. For artists who coming up in the business, they have to understand when you plant anything, it don't grow in one night. You know, so you cannot expect to, have a passion today and expect results tomorrow. It don't work like that, you know. For instance, it takes 6 years watering a bamboo tree before you see any growth. So I could tell you for sure, Bijan, I know Bijan singing when he lip used to turn white. Remember them days back, huh? So I know Bijan in them days. And a lot of people used to tell me about we booking before them fellas didn't waste our time. And I used to still bring on Bijan because we saw the potential and most of all he had
mm.
respect and he had dedication. Bijan used to turn up and know he not getting no dollars, but he there. And I
He sing.
respected that because he understood that I had to pay my dues. something called pay me dues, and that's just how it is. Some persons they get through, but that is the very few. The mainstream you have to work the ground and won't be no afraid to go in church and sing for free. Don't sing to go nowhere to go and sing for free. And if you're afraid to do that, then this is not the work for you. Because first of all, it's supposed to be ministry. If you come in here to be a star, then you're in the wrong place. We're here to lift up the name of Christ and hopefully earn a living while doing that. So hope that expands on the
Yeah,
question.
and that doesn't say that if you don't have relevancy or if you don't have a name, that you wouldn't be able to get on a cast. Not 100% of the time
Mm.
you wouldn't be paid, but you will have. But because I've seen that happen, especially with the events that I've been involved with Gershom and
Mm.
relationships, that plenty artists was on stage. When you watch them perform, you're asking yourself, how would they end up there?
Oh,
How they end
how they
up there?
reach there?
How they
How?
reach it?
Mm.
And that was sometimes a kind of stepping stone to give them an opportunity to be among most senior persons. And sometimes I think a lot of
And learn the
artists,
craft.
yep, I think a lot of artists don't understand something as well. And I noticed that when we discuss about events and stuff, because we always just bounce information to each other. We want to see also
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's very professional who could perform because you want to put on a good show. It's not a one-off show that you're trying to put on. It's something that you want to put on something of good quality, good standard, something that people will enjoy and want to come back to. So you want people who could bring that kind of that flame.
Energy.
It had a sound good because when people leave that show, you want them to say, "Boy, this was one of the best shows I've been a part of." So learning your craft, learning how to perform and to be on stage is something that a lot of artists need to work on. Because I've seen it happen that your song sound good on the radio. That studio
Mm.
session is nice. It come out sweet. When you
Melodyne.
land on the stage and that light hit you in the face and you hardly seen anybody in that crowd. So you're nervous. So that
Listening
is something
wise.
that people have to take into consideration.
Mm.
I
Right?
mean, to add to that, David, it's all about relationship and respect. Because as you rightfully said, it had a lot of artists, a lot of upcoming artists who would have sang on Golden Eagle stage in collaboration with 10 Strings. And you must take kudos for bringing them through the ranks. And then we invest a lot of money, put the reputation out for them. And if I tell you what they are doing now, I really cannot say because it was just a phase in their
Mm.
life and they did it and they really didn't respect our trade because they just disappear without saying, hey, saying XYZ indicate. But when they wanted the opportunity, they will tell you anything. And in
Mm.
addition to what David said as well, if you look at persons when they come to a show, they do not care about the background workings of the show. They want to see what's going on in front of the curtain. What's going on behind the curtains, they don't want to know. They know they pay their money
Mm.
as a consumer. They want a good product. Just like any one of us, we go to the grocery, we pay our money, we want a
Mm.
superior product. So when you decide to give an artist or upcoming talent a chance, you honestly taking a chance with them, hoping that they would produce to keep the reputation of the show or the brand where you want it to be. And that is why, as a businessman or as a promoter, as you say, I also have to do my research. I have to build a relationship with you. You know, I mean, I'll go into other things, but
Mm.
if they have any other questions, then we take it further. Man, don't laugh,
Any
you know,
question, Judah?
Now remember, I learning, I just listening and soaking up everything right now.
Now, I like that word, soaking in.
Soaking in. Yeah,
That
but
the word for tonight.
a question that come to mind is so a new and upcoming artist. What is an
Yeah,
advice
man.
you would give to them? They have just like two songs, like myself. I just have two songs. Um,
Mhm.
how do I go about?
Just now, Just now. The man just said he just had two songs.
Only
You
had two
have two
songs.
massive tune, boy. Yeah.
So
And
Judah
Ju-
sing
Or you
as
go
well.
with that next topic.
and
That
Judah could
Yeah.
perform. If you see Judah
Yeah.
perform, Judah could perform. He could put on a show.
He look
yeah.
like a
So
white man. He
And
look
say he
like one of
just
them
had
white
two songs.
man
Go
that
ahead.
have.
Yeah.
Let me ask the question. That is
all you
himself.
come,
Go
all
on
you
and ask the
come,
question.
come down
Go ahead
from
now. Go
there.
ahead now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Hey,
ahead.
come down from there. Come down from there. Yeah. So a new artist who just coming up. They have just about two songs. Yeah, it's playing on the radio here and there. Um, how do they go about locating, like, getting events, bookings?
Yeah.
Where to
Me
start?
personally, yeah. So I'll give you my experience and my marketing map. In anything I do, I always believe the pulse of the ground is the answer to everything afterward. Some people think, hey, I rush and go to radio. Even in the secular industry, I rush go to radio, go to a DJ, pay my money, get my song played. That doesn't say anything. The person still don't know you. There are a lot of opportunities. The gospel wants to be heard to all the land. As the directive of Christ, it must be heard before it comes. It have the schools, it have the churches, it have the streets. You need to find and look for opportunities because they are there to influence and to be known. So, for instance, I will not call him, but I know a particular artist before he became a big artist. He used to go school ministry every day. He in
Yep,
school,
I know that thing.
every school, and he became a big name in the schools before he was even on radio. And he didn't have no song. He just used to pump around with his little guitar, and he's singing and he ministering and he telling you testimony because it was a passion. Person who don't want to do it because of passion and want to do it for fame, they wouldn't find the time because when you do that, you
You,
run the
you
risk.
think you,
Obviously,
you
you'll have a
think
lot
you're
of
too
people
big for that.
critiquing you.
You
Correct.
think you're too big for that.
A lot of people
That
critiquing you and telling you, hey, you can't sing, boy. You ain't good. You're not staying wherever, wherever. But at the end of the day, I mean, I remember when I started playing football back then. You start off, you was never good, but you continue. And two, three,
True.
4 years down the road, you will improve. So once you're willing to bear and withstand the journey and the challenges that comes with the journey, you will make it. So what you need to do to social media is a big thing, and it makes
Right.
life easier for everyone to connect. Bro, you need to link up with that mailing list and put your stuff out there. You need to link up with brand agencies like Tensions and Creative Works, and you really need to put yourself out in a professional way. Now, I am telling you, there are companies out there, if you're up and coming and you're serious about the business, they will give you considerable discounts. And even if you don't get any discount, you take it one piece at a time. Today you do a flyer, tomorrow you do something else. And have a lot of apps that is doing it. Put yourself out there on a professional front. A lot of DJs and artists message me monthly, daily, and I take them very seriously just to give them that respect. Because I remember once when I was like that, I remember with David trying to book venues and people embracing you because who is you? It's like, no, you can't get this, and no. And you had to fight it. You had to chip up your money, lose money. I mean, I lost a lot of things, and you know, that's how it goes. That is what it takes. You must have sacrifice. You must lose in order to appreciate. If
Hmm.
I give you $1 million, Judah, you wouldn't appreciate it than
True.
if I make you work for it. So you had two songs out there. Hopefully, I will hear about you when you have 10 songs out there. But you had to be around in order to make the 10 songs. If you stop at two, I ain't gonna know you. You know?
True.
So, and the people dictates the market, not us. The people dictates the market. I remember a lot of persons messaging Golden Eagle page, hey, why this artist not there? Why this artist not there? I remember, and I always tell David this story. I remember when I used to have to squeezing Bijan because I'm a part of a collective as well. And now I cannot book a show without Bijan there. The masses will message me and say, hey, what's
What
going
going
on?
on?
And
Bijan
that is how it
Ide.
goes.
Yeah, I
But the
remember that.
man
I
believe
remember that.
you, so
Yeah.
now it is what it is. Even if I don't like Bijan, I have no choice if I want my business to prosper right now. You know? So that's how it go. So yes, determination to answer your question to make it clear, Judah, determination, consistency, hard work and prayer. And
Right.
put prayer first. Sorry for calling that last. Sorry, David. I know you're very spiritual, man. Spiritual.
So
Prayer
so
first.
so in the gospel circle, they just like like I didn't know certain things before. Like I didn't know radio stations
Mm-hmm.
had they had like a rotation list and all these things. I now learning about these things. Um
Yeah.
in terms of in the gospel circle,
Mm-hmm.
who do we have? Well, I mean, we know about your company, Golden Eagle, but who else do we
All right.
have as what you would call yourself? A booking agency?
I strictly deal with events, events of all nature,
Hmm.
um, marketing of events, coordination of events, and execution of events. That is what we do. So we do from sporting activities to banquets to concerts of all kinds, boat cruise, that kind of vibe. Our company generated from looking at, we saw efficiency in the youth having activities, Christian youth that is, or youth who just want to do something positive with their time besides wine and drink and smoke. And we filled that gap, started off with hikes. I remember me and David started off with a barbecue that ended terribly, and then it nearly lead to blows. But, that is how we think does go,
Serious.
and we keep it pushing, do socials in my yard, in front of my yard with tents. And I remember too, people laughing at me and telling me, well, let's try him, and it was 6 persons, 7 persons, and
Yeah.
we was happy when we had 22 persons, and we was so happy. And some persons say it was the naivety of your youth, and they are correct. It was the naivety of your youth. If 10 persons come to my event now, I would be extremely disappointed. But back then, it was totally worth it. So, that's how it go, man. That's how the
Right.
thing go. That is the sweetness in the journey. If you tell me I would have been here on a YouTube live talking to my best brethren about events 10 years ago, you tell me that. But I laugh. 10 years ago, I looking for a job, bro. Tell me about
All
5 to
right.
4.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, so I have a question, Grisham. Think about it before you answer. What are some of the challenges that you face as a because I don't like to call it a promoter. I think it's more than that. I think
For sure.
it's an event coordinator specialist. What are some of the challenges that you face in terms of doing Christian events? Give me probably about 2 to 3 challenges, like something that it always comes up. Because we just talk nearly every day. We work together every single day. So, but give me some of the like challenges, your
Challenges.
top 3 challenge.
Um, Also, the first one, because as you know, I used to promote parties and whatnot, and the first one was perception. I thought coming into to actually being active the way I am in Christendom, as they call it, would have been, hey, everybody's Christians, everybody love everybody work best for everybody, and it's not cut up as the world. Unfortunately, that is not so. Some may even go as far as to say it could be worse here, but the wheat and the tear must grow together. So that was the first thing. My perception was wrong, and I had to quickly navigate how I would treat with my wrong perception. Number two, um, challenges on both sides was professionalism. I could call maybe 2 artists that I have dealt with are very professional. You get a contract up front, detailing, hey, this is what it is, this is what it is, and you move from there. Other than that, no one has any contract, any stuff like that, which leads to miscommunication, which leads
Yep.
to disagreement, which could lead to disrespect. And I have been disrespected as a promoter before, as a event coordinator. I remember one time I had a concert at Praise Break, And the thing was, as the young people will say, it was jiggy. It was real good. And one of the artists, he's supposed to perform at a certain time, and I called him and say, hey, which part you at? Now, anybody know as an artist, you're supposed to reach at least an hour before the show to do your little song testing and, vibe up yourself. You get yourself together. So maybe try to do 2, 3 bookings in the same night, and I understand. And I said, okay, cool, I'll be waiting on him. I didn't see him, so I proceeded to put the last act on the show to close the show. And I was standing up here just giving David a synopsis of the show, and the show went well. And the artist walked in with his entourage with a GoPro in his hand and watched me and tell me, yeah, I'm ready to perform it.
I reach.
I reach. And I mean, you see, people would think I telling untruths, but thankfully David was right there.
Yeah, I
Like,
was standing
yeah,
right there.
I reach. Aye. So that is how it does go.
I coming
I,
back.
I, I don't know what to tell you, but that is how the thing does go, you know.
Oh boy.
So, David asked me to talk, and I tell him I will be very frank with him.
Yeah, yeah.
People could vex, but I mean that is the truth
That
of the
was
matter.
very
And he was very
unprofessional, to be honest.
displeased. He was like, it's not a matter of that. You should put me on stage, and then he said, I still need to pay him. I'm like, okay. I don't know how he did plan to get our money, if he did plan to pray or if he did plan to take it from me. However, that was the end. You see, because you disrespect me, and I'm not going to be disrespected. We could have a conversation. We could have pull square and say, boy, I'll tell you straight, boy, you come late. I can't really do anything for that. The show
The,
closing.
it wasn't late. It was the show was ended. The the
The show,
the show was
correct,
finished. It was like
correct.
the last artist performed. The show was done, and everybody was like, "Oh, ending it off." Then he walked in. That was like, and
Mm-hmm.
that praise break show usually be late. It was almost 12 o'clock, and the
Minutes
show
to
was
one
done.
to be exact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That used to run long. It was a marathon
Yeah,
show.
that was the marathon. That was the marathon. That was strictly designed for the students of the University of the Southern Caribbean, which I'm a proud student to be a part of. I must big up my school. The John don't play shy when they too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that
Big
was
up, big up.
disappointing.
So yeah, that's so disrespect, boy. And unprofessionalism and communication is the challenges that we're dealing with that we intend to rectify, especially from our part as an events company. You know, so
Hmm.
that's the things as I highlighted.
So is it now that
You that one?
as a artist, he probably ready, just step out to take a call or something. But so is it now as an artist? Is it that we should seek to have a contract on hand or a draft? So every time we look into, because I mean, a lot of artists manage. You're your first manager, yeah, and when everybody then have it to have David in the corner like myself. Thank God for David and the 10 strings. But is it that you're saying an artist should have a drafted contract just in the perhaps that somebody has a show or they approach to do something? Yeah, is it that you're saying that?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Once you
Mm-hmm.
put yourself out there to produce or to provide a service or a product, you're supposed to put something in written. You see, it have something to refer to besides he say or she say. You can now refer to it and
Mm-hmm.
say, bro, this is what you're putting writing, and you're cognizant of the fact that this is what we agreed upon. You breach the contract. However, I'm still willing to negotiate certain terms and
Mm-hmm.
conditions, but we have a point of reference besides your word. Even though we are all
And
Christians, I believe we all have run into this Christian.
yeah, and
And
on
that
top of
goes
that
both
too,
ways, eh?
um, yeah, on top of that too. a contract might sound real formal, and some people might be listening and thinking we had to go and get a lawyer or something. Most times when you're dealing with people, you should always have a text conversation, no? Email, WhatsApp, something that you could go back to. Because that's also a binding agreement as well. Because a lot of things don't happen that formally where you had to get a contract, you know what I mean? Sometimes people just call, hey, I need you'll be available to sing here for how long, at what time, you know what I mean? Because if they have a phone call,
Yeah.
that person could say, I tell you that, you're recording all the phone calls.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
uh,
So yeah, that's another
but
thing as
the best thing I would say though, you see, let me tell you something. Familiarity breeds contempt. Hence the reason people have managers. Managers is basically the bridge between the artist and the employer who is trying to book the artist. Because, like, even if I want to book Bijan, and I am very, for listeners, I am very acquainted with Bijan, I will still message David. Because David is the gap between Bijan and me. Because Bijan will tell me, because we're familiar with each other, yeah, boy, bing, wherever. I can be like, yeah, boy, wherever. And that in itself, even though it is done in innocence, could lead to miscommunication. It could lead to problems. You understand what I'm
well.
saying? So yes, you want to
Yeah,
keep that camaraderie and that vibe. So then deal with the business up front and they told you, hey, you want book me, I understand that, but you know what, let's go. Check email there. I send you a draft. Fill it out, send me back, I'll get back to you. And 10, 15
mm,
minutes, that Audi will be back to Lyman and talk. Business done. See, when you want to mix
yeah.
me and you talk in one scene and then you're chucking out about you're singing this and then you talk back, but you're going through a scene, your tire flat. I know going through no WhatsApp message to find that. You
Yeah,
really want me
yeah,
to print that transcript to come and sit down with you? No, man. So,
yeah,
What
yeah.
what one of the things that I've noticed um in the gospel circle, um and all around the ball, there's not just being a producer as well. But one of the things that I've noticed that we kind of cared something about when you present paperwork, it seems to be very like,
Hey, hey,
where's that
he's
one
serious, boy.
boy?
Hey,
Where's
this
that
thing real
one?
serious, boy.
You know that
Yeah.
kind of, you get that impression, you know what I mean? And like even dealing with foreigners outside, sometimes they ask you as the locals, yo, where the paperwork? Me a singing on
Mm,
that rhythm until we agree on certain things, you know. But something about we, and I think this is the purpose of why we have songed off, to encourage everybody to embrace the business side of things.
Yeah.
Before
Take
20,
it serious.
yeah, I mean before last year, anything could have passed by me. And if you ask me if I get
mm,
burnt out, I get lashed left, right, and center. Feet to pack
The,
up.
am-
You know what I
the
mean?
amount
Because you
the amount of
ignore
slap
this.
Judah gets, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, ignore this part of it, the business side of it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, going forward, we really had to
Yeah.
create that environment. Nothing wrong with a contract. Nothing wrong with signing a contract.
mm,
well, you see, that is person like you, me, David, Dijon, and other persons who have that progressive mindset. Obviously, in the past and still as present, there is a culture. Everything is a culture. Trinidadians have a culture. Everybody have a culture. The gospel industry have a culture. It's a culture to a certain extent of
mm,
unprofessionalism. And that's unfortunate, but we work with it. However, we need to progress as a
mm,
society, as a people, as a collective, and we need to make it do. So, starting with us, I was telling David I might go by Judah Faridon. I need to get Judah contact, and
mm,
Judah's supposed to send me a contract up front. If he don't send me a
mm.
contract, I'll be very disappointed that he's on this podcast talking about the business side of things and not sending me his contract. So, man,
Hey,
I appreciate it and I
it,
appreciate all they're doing.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know Gusham, and I just send him contract.
Yeah,
Literally.
that's,
Yeah, but check your email there. because it's important to have that paper trail as well and understanding, and to also train yourself to think like that. Even if it's among your friends or family, train yourself to move in that direction. Because if you've been doing this for a while now, you will get burned. And if you ain't learning from that, it's your responsibility and it's your fault. If you didn't set up things up front, can't blame nobody else but
So
yourself.
you need to put aside that nature of just a side thing, Baka is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you, me and Baka friendship mash up and come back off a certain scene because of no contract and thing, and because people talk at all. And listen, me, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when people come to tell me they want to be an artist, but they don't have $20 to reach, I don't even take you on. You know, I'll give you our next experience. I was doing preschool, a very successful event we have, which I believe you all are aware of. Honestly, a boat cruise kind of thing. And a young artist approached me, and I was like, yo, and I'm like, I cool thing. And he obviously talked to a friend of mine. I was like, okay, cool. So he performed at Praise Break, and he was pretty okay. Good stuff. He had the energy, dedication. So he was like, hey, I here for the long run. I want to be part of the event. I was like, no problem. Great. I was like, well, I haven't pre-schools. Come true. I'll give you like a 10 minutes to sing. Right? He said, cool. We reached down. When I reached down by the boat, he ready to go. Everybody ready to go. The thing said. So the boat ram out, so man, get excited. Man, get giddy. No problem. So his turn to sing. I allotted him 10 minutes. 5 minutes gone. I see he starting, he breaking into a testimony. I said, look, like, and the testimony start from childbirth and he's about 30. So, from 0 to 30 could take some time. 10 minutes gone. I say, I said, I'm going to give him a little 2 minutes. Let me try at least wrap up the testimony. Vision 15 minutes gone. 20 minutes gone. And the people didn't pay to hear him. They paid to hear the usuals now, but if all you know what I'm talking about. And the usual sit down in the pavilion waiting to run out, but my boy in the spirit. Right? And the captain of the boat line, hey, next hour I look into dock, and I know as a promoter, as the manager after balance now, I promise these people a certain product. They did not expect this person I'm putting on here. How am I going to manage this? What am I going to do? And this is what is beside me because now he's singing, but it has people in the audience who watching me like, hey, what's going on? So now I had to,
Make a
maybe
move.
as you might say, rudely take off the mic. Now the MC was afraid to do it. I literally, as the event promoter, had to go up by the DJ booth, press whatever, yeah, boy, dog boy. And I had to rudely, abruptly do it. Anyhow, I got to work through the time and everybody performed. Coming off the boat now, he was very displeased. He was tripping. And on top of that now, he messaged me and he tell me, with my payment.
Yeah.
Now, if you follow the conversation before, you would see I never spoke anything about payment. He approached me, he's a upcoming artist, he want that payment. I said, bro, he never spoke about that. You told me you're looking for little stage time, you're doing your thing. I really didn't cater for working, but I still made the time. On top of that, you take more of my time. So you disrespect me. You disrespect my time. You ain't apologize yet. And when I check on it, you know what you tell me? The man tell me, when the spirit flowing, don't stop the spirit.
I know. Hello now.
I say, no,
Come in.
what he don't know is I's a Bible man too. And maybe I'm a little delinquent is. So I hit him back a verse. I say, God is a God of order. And he was out of order. So we have a problem. So he was quite ready to throw off my business, throw off my product, because he was selfish and disrespectful. And then he went across the fraternity telling persons that Golden Eagle don't pay. Now that rumor might have stopped with some persons. might not have stopped. However, I have no paperwork to prove. So I
Yeah.
put myself in a vulnerable position because now it's my will against his will.
Mm-hmm.
And he really don't have anything to lose because he know in the business. I have a whole reputation. So now, thank God I've been around and I know person. So we had some meetings and try to trash it all. But at the end of the day, rumor is rumor and rumor sticks. So I do
Hmm.
not work with those people anymore. Not that I hate them, not that I do not like them, but for peace and for respect, I don't work. Some person say Golden Eagle have a blacklist. David does always make joke with that. But that is not the case. We just want peace, respect, and a free flow for everyone in this space. You all little think that way?
That real fair.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fair.
Yes,
So
for
you
me,
would
it's
give
a,
an
Back at him
so
talking.
so as a events promoter, well, whatever other ranks you have, um, titles you have, what advice would you give a young artist like me if I give you 10 minutes? If you give me 10 minutes,
Hmm.
what are you saying tonight? 10 minutes exactly. Stay within that 10.
Stay within that 10. Respect the man. You done beg for a blind. It's like you come and you ask me for my car borrow. And I say, boy, Judah, boy, take the car and come back. You say, but just going around the corner and
Hmm.
come back. 1 hour gone, 2 hours gone, I call you in south. How you reach there? And when you come back, you bring the car back dirty. You all hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When, yeah, when you come back, you bring the car dirty and you bring it with no gas.
yeah.
Hmm.
Disrespectful. Eh?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. 10 is
that's
10,
how
So
it go.
guys.
we
Yeah.
have a
10
question
is
here.
10.
10 is 10.
We have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is the procedure for booking an event the same of for different for the independent artists in comparison to signed artists? You know, that's an easy answer. No, in terms of approach for me, in terms of approaching an artist, I think it's same. It's the same thing. Probably on the artist end, they will probably, if somebody is not signed or they'll have a manager, the manager will probably take the forefront in this having a discussion with the promoter and discussing the rates and time and the set and the nitty gritty. But for an event coordinator, it's about the approach, the value it could bring to the show. I think that's an easy question to answer.
And then for the independent artists, what I would advise is get somebody. The person doesn't have to be a manager, but
Yeah.
get somebody to represent you in terms of taking the calls because,
Mm.
as Gresham was highlighting, it could cause a lot of confusion, you know. And sometimes it's harder for you as the artist to say no because some people watching you like, if you hear this story, she did, see that. Really and truly, you, you need to put kind of separation in it to ensure the proper flow of business happen. Yeah. So it could be anybody. It could be a
Family
brother. It
member
could be a
or
cousin. It
friend,
could
yeah.
be a friend. Anybody you trust. Anybody you trust to speak on your behalf.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Quick question. Again, I am just speaking on behalf of the new artists. Um, so someone reach out to me, they want me to do an event. Should I present them with a contract as a new artist that looking to, as we just say in Trinidad, boss, trying to be out there? Yeah.
I would, me personally, I don't know, but me personally, as a new artist, you had to be real with yourself, my bro. You had to be real with yourself. You had to know what value you bring and what value they bring to you. So, for instance, have persons who would approach me, corporate companies who would approach my company to collaborate. And when I look at these companies, they are existing for 50, 60 years. Their reputation is impeccable. The 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 notoriety that they could give me, I will personally do it for free if I could, because just paying myself with them give me a certain look as we talking it talk, a certain
Yeah.
look, a certain feel. So I would do it. Rather than you now as a new artist at church call, you want a bus price on each of the I got 300. No, what you looking for now is screen time. You want to be in people's face. So the church call you need to reach. Maybe I could say, hey, Pastor boy, I have no money to reach. If I could just get 100 to reach, I would be good. But again, it's communication. Because if you deal with a boy shit, a boy can't disrespect you if you ask for transport. And persons are coming to come now where they respecting the artists. I remember artists used to sing in church and you had to go home after that, about dry, no food, no transport, nothing. But the generation is changing.
Yeah.
And now people respecting you, you're getting at least money to reach, money to go, and then refreshments. And some churches might pick up a little offering for you too. So you might get a blessing. But this has come over time. This was not always like this. And I show you guys. So I wouldn't say if you're now boss call price or whatever, you now come out you're looking for a vibe. So that's my advice.
Thank
I
you.
have a question. I know you kind of touched on that before, but I'm asking in terms of more clarification. Why it is that we see on every event the same artists on every flyer? This one set of artists. Give me a expatiate upon that point for me, Mr. B.
You looking for a back and all. So you're speaking about my particular events or in general?
No, no, I know. I'm talking about on a whole. Uh, I see a lot of events. Well,
Hmm.
before the pandemic, you usually have every weekend it have something. The flyers come
Yeah,
out, they drop the flyer and the artists. Yeah.
yeah. Well, to answer that, yeah. How to put that? Let's put aside it's a church business and let we just look at it as it's a business. And let's all of us are young men here. I think we could relate to football. I hope the viewers could do the same. If you have 11 men on the pitch and they're doing the job, they're winning games, they don't fix one or broken. So we start there. Now you have substitutes in football. So you sometimes will take off Judah and put on the next man. And that is where now it comes to the determination of the coach who will be the promoter. So for me, I would say, okay, well, I'm using Bijan right through. But Bijan is amazing because of his message, because of his variety, because of the relationship we have between management and the artist. And not only that, he could hold his own. He has a fan base. But I need to change it up a bit. So I'm gonna try to squeeze in artists. I would look, I just ask David, who new artists. And I would say, okay, let me use a new artist. I try to at least use one new artist on my cards. But if I have certain shows, like my mainstay shows, I wouldn't risk that. I wouldn't risk putting a new artist in front of that crowd because as Christian as they are, the crowd does be savage. I mean, you come to sing and say, oh, you boys, refreshment time. Time to go and, time to go by the
Walk out.
cafeteria. That is the
Yeah.
I've
truth.
seen that. I've seen
And it
that
is
already.
unfortunate. It is unfortunate that and men going the cafeteria long, I upstairs I think about with the show intermission already. No newbie Bijan singing, so men going in the cafeteria. And that is what
I
it
get, I
is.
get that. I get that
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Yeah, sure, I get that a
Boy, all
couple
you
of
making
times.
me all you making me frightened, boy. I not me nah.
No, but that is part of
Very
the
part
thing. That
time.
is part of you can't jump up in front of people as a new artist and expect everybody to know you. The first thing that's going to happen when people see you on a stage, they're going to say, I don't know he, I never hear about he. I feeling kind of thirsty. Let me go outside and get something and come back. Yeah, it's not like the saying, It's not like if they're critiquing your performance or anything yet, you know. They're just saying from the jump, this is
Yeah.
the chance I want to take to walk out of the show. That's how I watch it. Yeah, and that helped me along the way.
But let me go in terms of I don't want to call any particular gospel artist. So let me go secular. I can remember years ago, Kes was an opener for shows. What was the band? I
Mm.
can't remember the name of his band back then, but he was an opener. He was first people walking in and Kes performing. I know that. I know that for sure.
Them days it wasn't
Because
safe yet. Them days it wasn't safe yet. Doing hustle work, security work, prophet and then and you're seeing Kes performing half tree. The sun hot,
yeah,
hot in the
yeah.
sky, and Kes feeling a whole sweat. And the thing is, he never had no original songs back then. That's why he's singing all kinds, singing Buju, Popcorn, Mavado, and Kes couldn't care. Kes could not
We.
Yep.
care. And trust and believe, I used to laugh at the man. I used to look at them rich boys now. If they ain't talented at all, they just come out here to pick up space. And we used to laugh at the man. And now look at
But
kids
no,
10, 15
look
years
at it.
later. Yes.
He stick with it though. Got better, got professional. Yeah, so you will have your time in this, man. You will have your time in this. And it's about putting
And
out
don't do it,
effort.
don't do it, don't do it for, sorry for cutting you, David. Don't do it to reach to that point, but do it because you love it. Because
Yeah.
you would never reach to that point. And
Yeah,
to
if
me,
you
I
don't love it.
never, I don't have a finish line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
You wouldn't,
keep going
bro,
and love it as you're doing.
you know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. I've had people on that tension, probably about 10 artists. I'm not saying everybody who stopped doing it is because they don't love it. I think people have different journeys in life and different growths and they reach certain places in their life. But
Mm,
if you're doing it to get famous or to get rich or to be up there, and that is the only motivating factor in there, you're going to give up because there's a level of hardship, a level of disappointment that takes place within that journey
mhm,
Yeah.
that you will give up. The first year, I remember particular artists I was managing. They really thought that boy, see, we drop a song, put it on Spotify or iTunes at the time, you know, go
mm,
sell off, you will get bookings, and it didn't happen with your first song. It didn't happen, and you get disappointed, and you think that, hey boy, one time, I'm so good, you know, you can't perform, you didn't have the experience in performing. Because for me,
mm,
performing on stage, you could only get good with experience.
True.
And to get that anxiety out of you and that fear. And I think sometimes it still happens, but it gets easier by the more times you do it. So
mm,
you have to have that love and that passion for it. And especially in the gospel industry, you have to have this number one thing. God had a call you to do this. This is, for me, this harder. Doing events and being a gospel artist harder to be in this gospel industry because of there's not a lot of money involved in it. It takes you a while to
mm,
generate a income that's probably sustainable. It takes you
Well,
years to even have a proper platform. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of collaboration, a lot of relationship. And you had that calling too. You had to be good at what you do too. That is one of the things
mm,
people don't understand. You had to be good at this too. Sometimes people believe I'm called to do this. What makes you think you're called to do this?
mm.
Because you
well, you see
feel that
about
way.
in the spiritual prayer.
You had to be honest with yourself, boy.
Indeed. I mean, I agree with you totally. And to add to your point, because you said it's harder to do what we are doing in the gospel circle because it have limited resources. And I agree and I disagree. Um, the churches are one of the richest institutions in the world. However, we are divided when it comes to who gets the resources. There's a
I could say
spiritual
that. Yeah.
aspect that we have to deal with that the world don't have to deal with. The world deal with, hey, I have a party, I selling rum, I selling wine and jam, paying money,
It's
go home.
money, money.
The correct is money. The church now would say, hey, no, we don't need that. Um, no, we could put this for church building. No, Bijan don't need that. And it is a spiritual division where should we pay our artists for actually singing the word of God? Why he just don't do this as a give back, as some a missionary or something like that. So that
He's
is
supposed to be
where you
singing
will
the
get
gospel for
individuals
free.
thinking, nah, I'm not
Yeah.
paying to go and hear Bijan and Bijan doing special music and church Saturday morning. Why should I go and pay to hear Bijan? That is where the division comes, and the resources are now limited. Also, you have to look at the corporate aspect, whereas the parties have the corporate aspect to jump on board.
Corporate sponsors, yeah.
Majority of these corporations stay away from religious institutions because they don't want to offend certain stakeholders or shareholders with different beliefs.
Yeah,
Remember, the
true.
Christian beliefs are very strict. So now they shy away. If you look, for instance, a certain red network, telecommunications network, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to get in trouble, but they sign a lot of secular artists. They don't really come close to gospel artists. But the gospel artists have some of the gospel artists have a bigger following than
Bigger,
some of the
bigger
secular
following,
artists
yeah.
beside them. But they stay away from that. So artists who operate in the gospel industry now, you have to, in order to tap into the resources that are available, you have to now stand firm for what you believe, but also show that your brand is such unique and diverse that they could still say, we could use that vision, fella. You know, he have a song that really relates to the pillars of the mission of our company, and we can really delve into that. And that is what a lot of artists now, a lot of main key artists, even worldwide, internationally, that is what they are doing. And last but not least, you have to look at the economies of scale. Trinidad and Tobago is only 1.3 members, 1.3 million in population. Out of that 1.3, you have a certain percentage who are not earning any income. That is the children, the disabled, and the elderly who just have a pension. So you're really looking at a very niche market who's spending money to actually pay for your music, come the concerts and whatnot. And out of that percentage of the 1.3 now, you have to dissect that to the percentage who actually Christians and who actually willing to listen. So you see how small the number actually jumped down. From 1.3 down to
The
a couple 100,000. And now you're
the
fighting
the
up with
the
about
um
40 other artists.
the um resources is limited, I think, because of the mentality. We had to retrain people to see what gospel artists or gospel artists, DJs, producers doing as something that is valuable and necessary. Because a lot of times when we have the conversation about paying artists or paying musicians, it always comes down to this mentality that you're doing this for God, you're not supposed to be paid. And that's a really disappointing mentality because it doesn't have any standing in what scripture says, and it's not really biblical to say something like that because we could go into a whole discussion. I've had many discussions with persons that have showed people text upon text and Leviticus, and people still have that mentality because we have grown to accept this as the culture, and and I think I'm seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, but we have a lot of work to do. You know?
Most definitely, man. It have a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. I remember doing an event and I tried to sell a ticket. One of the first tickets I actually sold to a church member, a senior female church member. And she was like, which charity this one? I was like, no, it's not for charity, it's our concert. And then she was like, so you get any money? I was like, well, I talk to everybody, yeah. I don't intend to throw you the money I get. She's like, no, I can't support that. And I was baffled. And I went home and I called my mom. And she was like, Wisham, you cannot force anybody to support you. What you need to do is to work on whatever you're working on and make it so valuable. And David will be a testament to this. The same people from the same church who never wanted to buy no ticket. They just be in my chat, right? Hey, when is Beach Games, man? When is this concert? When is that concert? Because it is a need. The need is socialization. Everybody wants to socialize. We are human beings. But you need to put your brand or your talent or your product in front they face so much with a certain level of quality that they be like, hey boy, I just need to hear that fella sing that thing. I need to get his music.
Yeah.
And you all are doing a wonderful job, especially putting your stuff on international networks where it could be tapping into a different market, a limited market. Now you're outside of Trinidad and the region. So you all going on a good road.
We have another question. Would you recommend that as a new artist you start off by ministering at various churches?
Again,
BJ, take that
I would
question.
the
say
reason.
go wherever,
Go wherever
go
you're called.
wherever, go wherever you call. Like say yes. Learn to just say yes. Just close your eye. I don't know if I ever see talk about my show. But say yes. Like, just say yes. You know what I mean? The smallest thing you never know. You never know who. Like I get a I had some experiences in life with people walking up to me and saying, "Hey, I love your music. I remember seeing you here, and it's like it had some in my earlier days. It had some moments where I kind of went in, kind of second guessing it, like this is really just because you don't know the people, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what the event have in store for you, but you know you're saying, all right, let me do it. But from these experiences, people were blessed. People had lasting memories that they could come back and say, I remember you there, or this one or that part, or whatever. And sometimes it's strange. It's the people you don't know that support you the most. Eh? It's not your
Yeah,
friends and your
definitely.
family. Not saying your friends and family don't support you. But you see that kind of die-hard support, you just get that very strong from complete strangers.
Hey,
And
that
the only way you're going to
that's
get
so
to
true,
meet them
bro.
complete strangers is by going in strange places. Yeah?
Bro,
But
I
if you
I
go familiar
have
places, you're meeting friends and family.
I I definitely have that kind of mentality. For me, in terms of doing business or putting putting stuff out there, I try to not kind of. I don't ask friends or family to even share my stuff. No, because you want to reach. Because they will see it, they will eventually see it and stuff. Because they're in your immediate circle. I try to push
Mm,
towards getting support or to reaching people who not familiar with me or what I am doing. You want to broaden your scope, because sometimes we could be in a little bubble. We have the immediate circle around us supporting us, and sometimes we think that our family and friends have to or should support us. And not necessarily true, but try to reach out and put yourself in places where sometimes you're not comfortable with, or go outside your comfort zone to get that kind of support and to reach people, because you want to just you broaden it and advance your
mm,
circle, as I say. So one of the advice I would give to any upcoming artist is this: you have you have to work on what you're doing, and work on your craft, get better at what you're doing, because
mm,
eventually, if you're good, people can't fight you. They will try, but they eventually will come down to, hey, this man could sing, boy. Oh, this man could play, boy.
mm,
They may not like him, but this man good, boy. Eventually, that will have work on your craft, get better at what you do. Try to get things a little more professional, better sound. Do get some voice training. Do some vocal training. Get better at what you're doing. Invest in what you're doing in a more professional way. Sometimes they come with too much of a kind of mediocre product and expect people to just jump on it and it not sounding properly and expect people to support it because it's this gospel. It's gospel are talking about singing and talking about Jesus. Why people then gravitating
Mm,
towards it? People judging
mm,
sonically what sounds good to them, and it's not really because it's Christian. Because you know, to try to work on yourself and work on your craft. You know.
And even
mm,
just to add,
definitely.
just a next advice I would add to what you're saying is like we have in Trinidad a culture where each one look at the next one. Um, so the first thing I would say is even as an artist or even a producer as well, if you find like you're not really getting recognition that you deserve, just saying, just keep working, keep working.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not playing your music on the radio, man, keep working. You know what I mean? Just keep working. And then the other thing is like artists as well. Like when I talk to some young artists, hey, yes, yo, that one is, and you know, like I pattern in that one and think, yeah, all that is good, all that is good, but you could get to I think that could be real dangerous at the same time because sometimes the
You'll you'll
persons who you,
become a you'll become
the
a carbon copy.
yeah, and then the persons who you're patterning, they they really I like how my partner put it across here just now. The market's smaller. It's just like it's like our next artist. I mean, it's nothing big, big, big. So as David as well said, broaden your horizon. Don't get too familiar with the people that you bump shoulders with. Pray and ask the Lord for unique ways of you know creating your brand and go forward with it. It takes work. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like I am the only man on my island, and I mean, I don't beat up over that because I have the Holy
Mm,
Spirit in me that does lead me and direct me into all truth. So don't get too familiar with the people that you bunks shoulders with. Keep moving forward. Yeah, that is just advice on my side.
All right, fellas, we've
I
been
could do that.
talking for a whole hour and a half. So, we
Yes.
could talk about this for our next hour and a half. But
Yeah, man. I
Grisham,
learned plenty tonight.
hey, thanks for coming through, bro. It's
Hmm.
been a blessing. Some really,
Yeah,
really
man.
good information, some unique perspectives in terms of, you know, what we, what it takes and what's the behind the scenes happenings about what artists get booked. I think we got a lot of information,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
just before we close up and we introduce the artists to watch for this week, from each person, give give me one thing that we can do in this music industry, gospel industry, that could improve things. Like one thing you think we should do that can improve things. Quick one thing.
Partnership. Partnership.
Oh, say,
You
say that
say if you
again.
do small as you just say you say partnership.
Okay, partnership. Bijan.
Ask the question again.
But
Pa-
what
pa-
is what one thing we can do to improve the gospel music industry locally?
One thing we could do, each person should learn to be a bit more humble. None of us are it. We are just pieces to the puzzle. Yeah?
My brother, well, I could
Humility.
take the advice first. I sorry if I come across pushy. I'll humble myself.
Nah, but I real like your approach, it's real upfront,
Straightforward.
man. It
No, no. What goes I'm coming with it? Relax yourself now, boy. I don't
Now,
talk
I
it to
would say,
you. I don't talk about you, sorry. Go ahead.
now,
Yeah,
I
Judah.
would say,
What is
keep
one
away
thing?
the head. I would say partnership. I would say partnership like my partner here. I would say partnership. We really need to partner. And if we would only do that, man, people would hear our music, man. People would hear our music. Yeah,
Well, for
they would
me,
hear
what I
us.
would say is transparency. A
Transparency.
bit more,
Okay.
be more transparent. And that intakes as well being upfront, being real with persons, honest, you know? That pretending. If it is you want something, if it is what you want, if you don't, I have a, I think me and Gusham does do that. If I don't agree with something, I try to do that with everybody I know. If I don't agree with something, or if something not sitting well with me, especially when we're doing business or anything, I have to say it. I can't go along with something and I'm not comfortable with it, or we're not clear on what we're doing, you know? So
Yeah.
transparency and being upfront is something that we need a lot. You know? Too much a hiding thing and pretending.
Yeah.
So guys, this is the end of the show. I think it was a fantastic show. Plenty info. I loved it. I really did enjoy it. Thanks,
Sorry about
Gusham,
the
for coming
technical
through, boy.
difficulties there, yeah, man.
Yeah, that them things that's happen. I expect that to happen all the
What's
time.
happened?
This is what it's about, man. And people could always watch back the show. So it's live on Facebook, on YouTube, so you could watch back. You know, eventually we'll try
Yeah,
to cut
man.
it up into little pieces to put it on. You know, the little nuggets that we share today on the show. Sometime later in the future that will happen. But great, I really enjoy this, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, fellas, for having me.
Yeah, brother.
The
So
Captain
who's he?
Evil.
Yes,
What's
definitely.
that?
So Judah, who is the
Yeah,
artist to watch this week?
so the artist to watch this week is Prince Nicholas. The little bit that I know about him is that this is his second song. He released his first song
Mm.
last year.
Mm.
And then he came by us, the
What happened
Redemption,
in Anguisham Andy?
and we did. Nah, I think he bounced off.
Oh, he bounced off. Okay.
Yeah. So he came by us, and we were able to release his second song on last week, on Saturday gone. Yeah, so this is the
Mm.
artist to watch this week. Prince Nicholas is his name. You could follow him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That's the fella there.
Yeah, man.
What we doing? We playing the video first, and then
Yeah,
we go in.
Well, we could close off with the video now.
All right,
We
nice. Yeah.
will
So
we will have his information up on Ten Strings Musical page and in the description, so you can check out his music on Spotify, on YouTube. Everything will be, the info will be there in the description. So guys, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Blessings.
Yeah, man. Everyone have a blessed night. Yeah, man.
Later.
Later.
Sweet gospel reggae music, music, music. Yes, the gospel of his sweet, yes, the gospel of his sweet, sweet, sweet. Gospel reggae music. Sweet gospel reggae music. Prince Nicholas, I tell them, turn it up, turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. Make me want to get up and move my feet. Somebody help me sing. Turn it up, turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. I know you wanna get up and move your feet. Oh, oh, oh. Giving praise in reggae and offering of sweet, sweet music. Hey. Just say come on with it day. All because we can't refuse it. Yeah. To glorify the most high and turn it up and send it in the sky. And if you stop and the music hit you, nobody fall down and cry because me don't you feel. Turn it up, turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet.
reggae so nice and sweet. I know you wanna get up and move your feet. Tell the DJ them play some stitching, play some positive, play some blessed messenger. Turn it up loud, put all the bass. Come make we mash up the speaker. And don't wait till you get in the mood. We start dance and praise the king. Well, if you're down and you don't feel good, I know self you feel praising. Somebody help me sing. Turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. Make me want to get up and move my feet. Somebody help me sing. Turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. I know you wanna get up and move your feet. Now we going 24/7 all through the day, lifting up the name of Christ. Every type of music, any genre, the gospel gonna make it sound nice. But if I bust a move and I can't dance, nobody laugh off of me. Come me go dance anyway, me no care what you say. I'm having a good time. Somebody help me sing. Turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. Make me want to get up and move my feet. Somebody help me sing. Turn it up. Press repeat and make it play non-stop. The gospel in the reggae so nice and sweet. I know you wanna get up and move your feet. Oh. Message in the music. Sweet gospel reggae music.